let's go ahead and just quickly get to Rob with his thing. Rob, you were wanting to know, from according to what you said, about Jesus's birth, you're being a 10-year difference. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, does my sound okay?
Yeah, your sounds okay.
All right. Yeah, in your debate with Godless Engineer, he brought up that there's two birth narratives, right?
Mhm.
In Matthew and Luke, I think I can't remember which ones, but one was they wrote that Jesus was born in the time of Herod,
Mhm.
and the other one was Jesus was born in the time of starts with a C. What's it, Colossians or something? Somebody was a ruler,
Mhm.
and according to people, there's like 10-year difference between that. So he was asking, how can Jesus be born in two different time periods?
Mhm.
Yeah, the 10-year difference is obviously 4 BC and 680. 6 plus 4 is 10. So I think that's what you're getting at.
Yeah. So
Um, my answer to that is there is scholarship that has come out. Uh, in fact, the first one would have been back in the 80s. It's called Herodian chronology. Basically, the issue comes down to Herod's death, date of death. So let's first tackle that one. So if he dies in 4 BC, and by the way, the only um, source that we use to date Herod's death is Josephus. So that's keep that in your mind. If he dies in 4 BC, and if we take the Matthew account to be true, that the children that Herod kills are 2 years and younger, then Jesus has to be at an upper limit. He has to be at least 6 BC in his birth date. Now that's a problem when we then include someone like Quirinius, who actually doesn't come into power in 6 AD. That's a high position he gets into in 6 AD. He actually does come into power according to Luke. He comes into a district type of governorship in 3 BC. So a 1 year after Herod's death. So if we take the 4 BC date of Herod's death, then he comes into power in 3 BC. But then this is why scholars say that there's a problem here, because Herod dies in 4 BC, but according to Luke, Herod's still around while Quirinius is governor and Jesus is still a child. So sorry, you just missed 1 year, Luke. You made a blunder here. And obviously, if atheists, they take it, they love to go the extra step and stick with the 680 date to make it even look worse. But no, they conveniently ignore the 3 BC date. So the only way to solve the biblical problem is for Herod to die after 3 BC. And guess what? That's actually a legitimate argument. So the papers, the scholarly papers, they're all from, like I have two in Brill, for example, very reputable peer-reviewed papers, have come out challenging the 4 BC date, which, by the way, originated from the 18th century when scholars were calibrating the calendar with all these historical days and all that, saying that, look, not only was there some calibration errors early in the 1800s, but Josephus himself made mistakes. And not only that, when Josephus speaks about the eclipse of Herod, like there was a blood moon supposedly on the night he died, the eclipse in 4 BC, you don't even see it. It's not even in the sky. It's literally just above the horizon. But so when did he die? He died in 1 BC, January the 10th, 1 BC, and guess what? The blood moon eclipse is directly overhead. And not only that, coinage. We've been discovering coins that showcase that Herod died in 1 BC. And that actually now completely solves the whole Quirinius problem, because if Herod dies in 1 BC, guess what? He's still alive when Quirinius becomes that local governor in 3 BC, and Further latest scholarship has shown that Jesus was born in 3 BC, specifically September. And so now that also again fits the Matthew chronology of 2 years, because if Jesus was born 3 BC and if Herod dies in 1 BC, that gives you the 2-year gap for Jesus, when Herod goes and kills those male children 2 years and younger. So Herod's death date is the key to all of this. That is the shortest response I can give on the topic. But if you have any more questions, I can answer it.
Did that help out any?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, it helped me out. I'm sure it helped you out, because I've never heard that before, and
Mhm.
when it was brought up. So, and then you didn't know, and I figured, General would know it. So,